Hello, and welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. Another beautiful day here in sunny, beautiful Florida. And it made me think about today's topic. Today's topic is accountability and follow through. And it's an important topic to talk about because we all know ourselves as well as others that you continually hear them saying the same thing over and over again. I'm going to lose, 30 pounds. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get back in that body where I feel comfortable in a bathing suit on the beach and yada, 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 yada. And I heard myself say it over and over and over again. And I also heard myself give every excuse as to why it was not happening. Oh, it's menopause. Oh, ever since this happened, I just can't lose weight. No matter what I do, I can't lose weight. And it was true to a certain extent because I did try a million different things, but what I didn't take into consideration is that everyone's body is different. So my girlfriends that look great and, stay super fit and seem to be healthy and do all the things right, I was following their lead. For example, my best friend and my sister, super healthy diets, gluten-free, the whole bit. So I'm watching them and we would go out to eat and I would order what they ate and I wasn't losing any weight. And then I had a person working with me. She was lifting heavy weights and doing a shake every day for her lunch. So I said, do me a favor, bring me whatever you're making yourself, bring that for me because I don't take the time to do it. And then I don't eat for hours and hours, yada, yada. She brought me a shake every day. I did it for 6 months. I didn't lose a pound. So why am I talking about that? We tend to make up our mind that it's just not possible at some point. And I just was like, you know what? The hell with it. I'm eating the bread when I go out to eat. I'm having dessert if I feel like it. I can't lose weight anyway. And then you start to put more and more and more weight on. Well, I see people do that with education in our industry. They're frustrated. They're not fully booked. They know that there is a better, different way of doing things, but they don't know how to get there. And I know for myself, I'll often share with you on these coffee chats and especially in my membership that I have a really awful money story and I inherited it from my father. He was a really hard worker. He did not finish high school. He was a self-made millionaire, very successful. But the way that he viewed money and spending and all of the things, it was inherited, and I inherited it from him. And, something, for instance, I wanted to hook up with this life coach. I wanted to teach, which is what I'm doing now. I'm so happy that I did all of this. I wanted to get on stage at the hair shows. Every hair show I went to, my heart would be pounding watching the person with the little Britney Spears microphone up on that stage, just owning it and sharing everything that they did behind the chair with the audience and everybody standing up and clapping for them. I'm like, that is where I want to be. From the time I walked into my first hair show in 1986 until today, it still gives me all the feels. So I had no idea how to get there. And I just kept going this way and hitting a wall and going that way and hitting a wall and going that. I would reach out to manufacturers with products that I use and say, how do I become an educator? And they were like, oh, we pay you $75 a day and you have to schlep around a gigantic chart. You're going to have to get a bigger car because you're going to have to carry a big flip chart and these markers and all of this hair color. And you're going to have to get into, exactly what we tell you to say. And I was like, ooh, I don't want that. So then I just gave up and I stayed behind the chair. And then I was like, you know what? The hell with it. I'm going to do it on my own. And I put a classroom in above my salon, expanded my space, spent all this money to do these boot camps to have people come. But what I didn't realize was that people were coming from all over the country and I was doing them 4 consecutive Mondays. And they're like, I can't fly in and out every Monday. So I just couldn't quite figure it out. And then, this is how long ago it was. The only source for education was the coveted magazine, the American Salon, the Modern Salon. And my Modern Salon came and it was an advertisement about a event that was happening in California, in Newport Beach, California. And it was on how to be a powerful speaker in the beauty industry. And I was like, okay, if the heavens didn't just send this into my chubby little hands, I don't know what did happen. So I was like, I'm going. And at that moment, See, what happens is you're a little beat up, right? Like it wasn't working with going to manufacturers. It wasn't working doing it on my own in a classroom upstairs. Nothing was working, but the passion and the purpose and the desire never waned. That never went away. It was just the how to do it. So if you would have told me what I spent to go and do this class, I would have been like, you're crazy. I'm never spending that. It was a big investment between the flight, the hotel, the actual class, the meals, the Ubers, I think I did a rental car, all that stuff. It was a big amount, but it was something that I had been searching and searching and searching for the longest time. And it was finally there, all wrapped up in a bow in beautiful Newport Beach, which is one of my favorite places in the whole country. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going for it. I have nothing left to lose. And because of that, I met the person who is now my beauty agent, who books me at the shows that I dreamed of being at. So she opened up those doors for me. And I met my life coach, who most of you have met through my programs, Alejandra Crisafulli. Then when she called me afterwards and said, I really feel like you're a good fit for my coaching program. It's one-on-one. It's different than therapy. It's yada, yada. I was like, oh, of course, she just wants more money. And the amount of money that she said that it was going to be literally stopped my heart. I was like, oh my God, I can't spend that on just talking to her about my problems. Like, no, I got to suck it up and just figure it out. So I said no. And I said no again and no again until I couldn't say no anymore, because I was just broken with all that was going on in my business and just so frustrated that I was like, you know what? It's only money. And then here's the deal. Money is a replenishable resource. You can always find more. You can always make more. Time is not. So I had been working at this teaching thing for 5 straight years, hitting wall after wall after wall. And I'm like, I'm going for broke. I don't care that this costs a lot of money. I need to get to the right person that's going to show me how to do it. And that's who they were. They were the 2 people that made it happen for me. Had I said, oh, I can't afford it. Oh, that flight's too far. It's too much money. I don't want to be away from my kids. I can't be away from the salon. We all have excuses. It's very easy to come up with a million excuses why not to do something. But on the other side of the excuses, the complications, the fear is always the biggest bully in every situation. The fear of what if this is one more thing that's another brick wall? Well, it didn't matter, because I was like, it's this or nothing. Like, I just can't keep trying to figure it out on my own. I need assistance. I need a coach. I need a mentor. And it was the best thing I ever did. And it just changed everything for me. And now I look back at that investment and I'm like, I would have paid 3 times more for that had I known what it was going to lead to, but I didn't. And that's my point. So as you all know, you've seen me on Instagram, you've seen me here on Facebook, you've seen ads, you've seen me go live in my groups, and you've seen my coffee chats, and you've seen me lead you along the, trail of what we're going to be talking about in this class. One coffee chat, we talked about, resistant gray. One coffee chat, we talked about consultations. Like, we talked about all of the things just at a high surface level of like, we need to do these things. But this workshop that I'm doing starts on Thursday. And I guarantee there's many of you watching right now that are listening to me talk about the losing weight, the going to find a coach to be, a teacher and a speaker. And you're just like, wah, wah, wah. You're drinking your coffee and you're sitting there looking at your book with big, giant gaps of white space in it where you don't have clients. And you're thinking about the day ahead and you're just like, ugh, I don't even want to go in there. I am so over it. And you're burned out, you're stressed out, and you're feeling lost, but you don't feel like coming to a workshop like this is going to be your answer. And trust me, I have been you. I still continue to be you. There's an Australian colorist that I love and I follow, and I pay her for her monthly membership, and she's coming to Orlando. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have to go all the way to Australia to see her. I totally want to see her. And then I looked at the date and I'm like, oh, that's really far ahead for me to commit to that date. I don't know that I can do that right now. My daughter's getting married. We have a lot of stuff going on. So I hesitated, and then I saw the price, and here's my money story bubbling up again. She's charging $700, and it's just a look and learn. She's doing one model. She's coloring one person's hair in front of me, and I think she's limiting it to 30 people, which is still a decent amount of people. And she's like, I want it to be intimate because I want you to ask questions and all that. I'm like, $700 is a lot of money for me to watch somebody do hair when I already watch her do hair on my phone. And she tends to do a lot of the same thing over and over again. So I'm like, oh, it might just be the same thing and I'll be disappointed. And then I go into my story. Well, I'm not really behind the chair. So I'm not really going to be using that information behind the chair. And do I really need to spend $700? And I have to drive to it. So here's the excuses, right? This is what we do. I have to drive to Orlando. It's a terrible drive. It's a busy road. It's a boring drive. It's 2 hours from my house. And I'm not going to stay over because I'm really not a big fan of Orlando. I want to get back to, the beach and get away from that, super hot Orlando and crowded and crazy and kids everywhere with snot noses coming from the park and overheated and cranky and all the things. This is all the things going through my mind. But I'm like, Elaine, you can see your person within 2 hours of you for $700. You could learn something from her that you can then share with your membership of 300 passionate hair colorists who are depending on you for what's new, what's fabulous, and what's different. And you're not behind the chair. So you do need to invest in your education and reach out and learn from other people. So this is the dance that I do. So I know that's what you're doing. But $700 and $67, there's a big gap there. My workshop is $67 if you're able to show up live. If you know yourself and you know you're not going to show up live and you know you're going to want to know what you missed, there is a VIP level that is, my gosh, I don't even know. I think it's $97. $97, you get live Q&A with me after each class. So you ask any question you want with me live right after I just said it. And then you own the replays forever. So for $97, you could learn one secret thing that I know and that my 300 members know that you don't know. And that little thing for $67 or $97 can completely change your life behind the chair the way that speaking engagement changed my life for a whole lot more than $97. I just joined the mastermind. I've always wanted to join a mastermind. I've, tousled with it here and there. I found different people that I resonated with. And I was like, man, that is a lot of money. What could they possibly teach me that's worth that amount of money? So I went to an event and I took my son with me and I said, do not let me buy anything. I'm in that mode where I'm like looking for an answer and I'm going to get sucked into something. He's like, I won't let you. So we left after the first day. I didn't buy anything. The second day I bought, and what I bought is equivalent to a quarter of my annual revenue. So 1/4 of what I work an entire year to earn is going to this mastermind person who leads this mastermind. I got home. I literally felt like I was going to throw up. I was shaking from head to toe. I told my husband, he's like, were you drugged? Like, what is going on? And I'm like, you know what, Jeff? I can't explain why he's the person and that this group is the group that I need to join, but I know that I need to join. I feel like this is my Newport Beach experience. This is my leveling up. These are the people that I want to surround myself with, because what I found myself doing is I was in all these little things like these 97, join my 3-day $97 thing. And I would get just enough to frustrate me that I'd be like, okay, that works, but now what? That works, but now what? And every person who is successful, whether it is an Olympic athlete or an actor or actress, everyone who makes great deals of money and is super successful and is looked up to by other people has a coach, has a mentor. You can't do it alone. You can try. You can sit there and you can stalk YouTube. You can go on my YouTube channel and learn a lot. You can stalk these coffee chats. They always stay up here. They never come down. You can just binge all of my coffee chats and learn a lot. But there's not the accountability piece. The accountability piece in a coaching situation is gold. Having someone say, one of my members, we were chatting through DM and she said, I hear what you're saying and I know I have to raise my prices, but I'm still scared, which we all get that way, right? There's none of us who have raised prices and said, woo, can't wait for my clients to give me a hard time. And I said, okay. And I walked her through what to do. And I said, I'm checking in on you. And I literally have it in my calendar. Reach out to her to check in on that date that she promised to raise her prices. And it's just like when you're on a diet and you're trying to work out and do the right things and you hire a trainer. I just signed up for kickboxing. I freaking love this class. I never thought I would find an exercise class that I loved. I gave up a long time ago. I hate Pilates. I hate yoga. I like yoga for the relaxation, but I'm not good at holding those poses. My wrists from doing hair all these years, my elbows from tendonitis, my knees, all of it. I'm just like, I'm not a yoga person. So it's not for lack of trying, but this kickboxing class does two things. It gets that nervous energy out of me that's pent up, that just spent all this money on this mastermind. It's like, ooh, okay, let me get this out because I'm never going to sleep. And the accountability piece is I prepay before I go. So if I Venmo her that money and then I don't show up, shame on me. Now my money story is kicking in. Why did I spend that money? I shouldn't have done that. But it's not about the money. It's about me not showing up. So we can blame, we can shame, we can sit in our, I always say sit in our dirty diaper, because so many of you are sitting in a dirty diaper. Think about the amount of excuses you're making for not taking on certain clients. You know, even this woman that I was telling you about that's coming to Orlando, she had a correction sit in her chair and she was filming it for the membership. And she said, I knew I shouldn't have taken this client. I knew it was too big of a challenge and I knew I shouldn't have done it. And I was like, that's not the kind of color teacher that I am. I love a color correction. I love a challenge, because her niche and her specialty is that lived in Australian, beautiful, bright blonde. But every girl that sits in her chair is a beautiful, gorgeous level 7 natural person with the big, beautiful lips and the eyes and the big lashes, and they're gorgeous. You could not make them fabulous. So she is tightening up her client base to be, everybody has to be beautiful. Everybody has to have long, beautiful beach wave hair. I don't ever see her do a short hair client. I don't ever see her take someone from, you know, brassy blonde to beautiful copper red. Like, I love a challenge and I love a correction. But a lot of us say, I'm too booked, or you say that you're booked to a client because you don't want to take on a correction because you just don't know what to do. So part of how I teach and what I'm doing in this workshop, day 3 of the workshop, is called Let's Formulate. I'm going to put a photo on the screen of the before. They're going to have a couple inches of gray, brassy, whatever, a situation. And then together, we are going to come up with a plan and a formula. I go by that line where they say you can teach a man to fish, but you know, you can feed a man or you can teach a man to fish. If you teach the man to fish, he can feed himself for the rest of his life. When people came to work with me, I didn't mix the color and hand it to them. I said, tell me what you're thinking you would do, and then let me tell you whether I think it's a good idea or not. And I lead them to get to where they need to go. It's accountability. It's, you know, holding somebody accountable and giving them the respect to figure it out themselves with my guidance. It's a completely different kind of teaching. It's not, here you go, here's a video, watch me in the salon. You can do that. That's great information. But the way that I teach and the reason that I teach is because that is not how I was taught. And it was frustrating. If you haven't listened to my podcast, please listen to the next episode. Is Jesse Skittrell. He is so passionate about education. He does the Board of Certified Hair Colorists. He took it over from the ABCH. He has a program called Atarashi that is the perfect hybrid program for a brand new person going into the beauty industry. I would never tell anyone to go to any other school but that, because you're actually learning in a salon with a mentor and getting your hours. It's not a beauty school teacher that never worked in a salon. My beauty school teacher never worked in a salon. She went to beauty school. She stayed for the teacher's program. She regurgitated what she learned in the Milady book that was, you know, written in probably 1967 with all the same information in 1967 that they're teaching in 2023. So my self-imposed job that I gave myself is that I want to pick up the baton from where beauty school was not able to get us to because they don't have enough time. It's not their fault. It's the state does not give themselves enough time for us to actually learn how to color hair. We learn how to not burn someone, how to not kill someone, how to not give them an allergic reaction. It's all safety for the state board test. It is not how to cut, how to color, how to wax, how to whatever. It's not the how to, and it's really frightening. So we get out of school and we have this like, you know, overconfident, like I got this. I'm tired of doing for me. I'm tired of doing my friends on my porch of my house. Like my little it's an enclosed porch at my parents' house was a mini salon. Like my mom would be making dinner and there would be like vegetables in a strainer in the sink and I would pick up the vegetables and move them and stick the person's head in and shampoo them in my mom's kitchen sink. And my mom and dad were great about it. They were so excited that I loved what I did. And they never shamed me for steering away from the college thing. I was in the top 10% of my class for grades. I always had first honors. I got straight A's all the time, Catholic school, the whole bit. When I told the nuns that I was going to beauty school, she literally choked on her coffee. It was in the guidance office. Sister Judith, she talked like this. She was like, "Where are you going after graduation?" And I said, "I'm going to beauty school." And she said, "What? You have an A in this, you have an A in that. Are you insane?" I'm like, no, it's something that I love doing. I've been doing my friend's hair for 2 years now, not knowing what I'm doing and doing a really good job at it. Do you happen to have a scholarship laying around that you can give me? And she was like, well, I mean, if you insist that you can go down to the office and put your name in for it. So they made an announcement because she didn't even know that she had a scholarship. They made an announcement and said, if you're interested in the beauty school scholarship, go to the office immediately. And basically it was whoever got to the office first. That's how they chose. I got to the office first. So I got the scholarship. But both of my kids went to college. My husband went to college. My sister went to college. College was all around me. And if you told me tomorrow that I could go to the most prestigious college in the world and it would be free of tuition, I would say, no, thank you. I'm going to stay can I have that money towards my mastermind to do what I do to help other hairdressers become better colorists? That's where my passion lies. There's nothing that a college can give me right now that is something that lights me up and excites me. It would never be a waste of time. Education is always important, but you want your education to be in something you're actually interested in. So I want you to ask yourself right now, what is your education budget? Have you even thought about an education budget? I can almost guarantee that most of you watching me right now haven't spent more than $1,000 in the last 2 years on your education. And think about that. How are you going to stretch and grow if you're not growing your knowledge base? If you always do everything you've always done, you're always going to get the same result. It's just going to be the same every year. You're going to look at your tax return and it's going to be the same. My tax return, brand new business, started this new business in 2019. Every single year, my goal is to beat my year before, even if it's by $5. I don't have somebody telling me I have to do that. My husband doesn't say you have to do better than last year. My daughter, who works on my team, who is like, not replaceable. She is my right arm. She doesn't tell me I have to do better. I want to do better. It comes from within me. So I pushed myself. When I told her that I joined this thing, she was like, oh my gosh, okay, she said, I just strap myself in because I know you're going to be doing 10 million more things and drive me crazy. And I will be. I have a lot of great ideas that I've already gotten from this mastermind. So I don't know. I'm exhausted hearing myself say it, but are you holding yourself accountable to a higher standard? Are you trying to be a better colorist tomorrow than you are today? It's that simple. Do something new, better, different. No matter what, do a couple face frame paint pieces on your client today. That has been a single process since 1980. You have your color cards and they say same as above, same as above, same as above. Stop the madness of same as above. Do something different. Try something different. And if you get into trouble, reach out to me and I'll help dig you out. I had one of my members did a little self color on, she did this thing to her hair and she reached out to me in the DM and said, oh my gosh, look what I did. She's like, I did this, this, and this. And I said, because you panicked. It's panic that sets in. When something is a corrective, crazy situation, we look at it and do the OMG, what am I going to do? And we get reactive and we react and we like hurry up and do something that we think is the thing to do. I share this often, this photo. This poor child came to us days before her senior class portraits. So you all know when you were a senior in high school, you had these graduation pictures done. Like for us, it was Catholic school. We got our ring ceremony. We got this ugly ass ring that I never even wore. But she called hysterical because she had done a ombre kit. She was doing ombre to herself. Somehow it turned green and she called us. We didn't have any time because we're always booked. And she called us and said, can you correct me? And we were like, we're sorry. We need, a couple hours for that. She went somewhere else, a competitor salon. They brought her in. They immediately threw bleach over it because it was reactive. It's like, oh my gosh, green. We have to bleach this out. But whatever was in that color, because it was a home kit, we have no idea, but I'm suspecting there was some direct dye in there somehow. And they threw the bleach on the direct dye and it became lighter blue from the green. This photo was taken after they cut 6 inches off of her hair because when they put the bleach on the green, 6 inches of her hair had melted off. No test strand, no plan, reactive. She comes to us. My partner in crime, who I trained from the time she wobbled out of beauty school, Alicia, she's teaching at my retreat. I'm so excited for you all to meet her. She's amazing. She took one look at it. She knows what to do. I trained her well. She knows all the fundamentals of color. She literally took Shades EQ in an orange base. The AA is orange in Shades EQ. She took the pure orange, put it over top of just the green, set the timer for 15 minutes, took her to the sink, rinsed it off, glazed everything over top with just a neutral to blend it all in with her natural. And this was the result after 30 minutes. That was her graduation photos. No bleach wash that I hear everybody talk about. Oh, just do a bleach wash. Oh, okay. Totally chokes me every single time. No Malibu CPR, no this, no that. It was like strategy, fundamental color. So when you see the name of this class, Hair Color Formulation Simplified, you say, I've been doing hair 15 years. I don't need that class. Formulation Simplified, please. Give me the most advanced, yada, yada, yada. I need more than that. I don't need fundamentals. And every single time I can play, I'm going to have Bryn do a little montage video of verbal testimonials from my students where they're like, oh my God, within 5 minutes of this class, I learned 2 things that I did behind the chair that night that completely changed my game on clients that I was lost for. I didn't know what to do for them. And they're people who've been doing hair 30 years. So don't let the name of the course scare you. The reason it's called Simplified is because we've overcomplicated it. We've overthought it. We have analysis paralysis, and we have fear-based decisions on zero strategy, dumping something on someone's hair because we're in a panic. And the very rush to get something on their hair is what turns the service into a 4-hour corrective situation instead of a 30-minute fix. That young girl, this picture is my salon before it was remodeled again. So this is probably my gosh, it's been at least 10 years since we remodeled. So it's probably like 2010, 2013, something like that. She still comes to the salon. She was in high school when that happened. She's never leaving. We saved her butt. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. When you want to be a better colorist, you want to be that lifesaver. You want to be that person's lifeline that didn't turn them away like that Australian fabulous colorist. She said every member of her staff turned that woman away. You don't want to be the one that has to turn away the person that is in tears, that has the messed up hair. If you've ever been the victim of a hair crime, I have. I've been the victim of a hair crime. And you can't even look at yourself in the mirror. I remember I was very pregnant with my daughter, and we had a Redken class, and this guy came in. His name was Guy. Ironically, that's my maiden name. And I said, I just want like a caramel color. And I had this color blonde, and I was very pregnant. I knew I didn't want to keep up with this. So I was like, I just want caramel. He goes, oh, honey, I specialize in caramel. I was like, okay, you're my man. So I was the model for the class. He turned my hair. I'm trying to think of what actress you could even relate to. Dark, very dark. Not Selena Gomez dark, but probably like J-Lo, but not in a beautiful J-Lo caramel highlights. J-Lo when she's solid, darker, like Jenny on the Block J-Lo. And I was like, oh my God. And I just remember calling my husband and like, I'm going to be a while. Like this did not turn out okay. And Mr. Guy forgot to have me sign the waiver. And he quickly showed up when I was under the dryer trying to get some of it. I was like, do you mind signing this? I forgot to get you to sign a waiver. He was like, oh crap, I really screwed up. So I was the victim of a hair crime, and I would have done anything, paid anything, sat through anything to get back to my blonde hair. And every time I would walk by you go into the mall and you walk by like the window of the store and you see your reflection. I'd be like, who is that? Like, I don't even know her. And you just want to be out of pain. And whoever gets you out of that pain and fixes your hair, you're entirely loyal to. You never want to leave them. You cry the day that they want to retire. If you haven't listened to the podcast, also, I told you to listen to Jesse's coming out on the 17th of April. He's not out yet, but the last episode, the current episode, I think, is about a client who wrote to me. She happened to see one of my YouTube videos and she said, I'm not a hairdresser, but I loved watching your video because you really sound like you know what you're talking about. And I'm having a problem finding a good hairstylist. And it broke my heart that she's been through so much when she showed me a picture of her hair, and it's such a simple thing to do. But when you know better, you do better, and you know better by getting the education that you need. So stop using money as an excuse. You spend more than $97 on your latte habit at Starbucks. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that you don't have $97. And more importantly, if you don't have $97 extra to spend, it's because you're not busy enough behind the chair. And you're not busy enough behind a chair because you don't know enough about color. It's this big circle of insanity, absolute circle of insanity. It's the indecision. It's, I don't have that money to spend because I don't have clients. I don't have clients because I don't have the money to spend on education. If I had the education, I would have the client. If I had the client, I'd be able to get more education. Circle of insanity. Stop the madness. I'll see you in class.